Welcome back to Afternoon Live. We've all heard the statistics. 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer in her lifetime. But those statistics take on a whole new meaning when the person you love is the one diagnosed. Here to share her poignant story of caring for a partner with a terminal illness, we welcome the author of Rehearsals for Dying, Digressions on Love and Cancer, Ariel Gore. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And welcome back to Portland.
Thank you. It's so great to be in Portland.
How many years were you a local here?
About 10 years.
Okay. Well, we're happy to have you back. And this book is so beautiful.
Oh,
How does it
thank
feel
you.
to finally have it out in the world just this week?
Feels pretty great. My spouse died just a little over a year ago, and we were working on the book when she was alive, and I was kind of writing it in real time. And we got to publication date just very shortly before she died.
Wow.
And so it's been this very kind of real-time process. I mean, I'm an old zinester, so it was kind of like that process where
Yeah.
you're just doing things as they happen.
Well, how incredible that she was, part of the journey in writing it from the beginning. Can you tell me kind of how this all started for both of you?
We were married for about almost 10 years before she got diagnosed with first breast cancer, and then we found out pretty soon that it was metastatic breast cancer, which is uncurable.
Yeah.
But they treat it, and in her case, treated it very heavily. In my opinion, kind of over-treated it, knowing that they weren't going to turn it around. It seemed pretty aggressive treatment protocol. So she was in chemo for 3.5 years before she died.
That's a long time.
Yes, it was a very long time,
Yeah.
and there weren't a lot of books that I found that were from the caregiver's point of view,
Right.
and so I wanted to have that point of view. And there really, billions of dollars have been spent on breast cancer awareness in my lifetime, and yet when she was diagnosed, I realized I really didn't know what to expect. I didn't know that much about it. I knew pink ribbons represented breast cancer, but that was, kind of the extent of how much awareness I had. I didn't know about the stages or so many things I didn't know what to expect. And so I wanted to kind of chronicle what happened in the most honest way that I could.
Were you just writing the whole time, and when did you realize that this was eventually going to be its own book?
I guess I was writing the whole
Yeah.
time. That's kind of how I process my life.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm an old zinester, so that's, and then I had published a book with the Feminist Press before, so I had a relationship with them, and the books started coming together maybe a couple years ago, and I spoke with the editor of the Feminist Press, and she was like, I've never done a book project with somebody when the thing was still unfolding, when the story was still unfolding, except for when it was something good, like maybe, like you're running a marathon. She was like, so I thought it was kind of brave as an editor for her to just be like, let's do this,
It is brave. I mean, it's a pretty radical situation to put that all down on paper, and you guys experienced so much. Tell us more about Deena. She sounds like just an incredible person.
She was a chef and opened restaurants in New York and California, made her home in Santa Fe, and taught at the Santa Fe School of Cooking. I actually met her in Santa Fe when we moved down there from Portland when my mom had cancer. And I wrote a book about that called The End of Eve. And so this book is weirdly kind of a sequel to The End of Eve.
Yeah.
So she was great and intense, and one thing with getting breast cancer that kind of broke my heart was she really blamed herself for getting it, and kind of had this idea that she was a bad person, so she got breast cancer. And then when I was interviewing other people for this book, I realized how common that is, that people, it's kind of like the dark side of like positive thinking culture, where then you think, I haven't been positive enough in my life. That's why I got cancer. Or, these treatments would be working better if I had a better attitude. And it's just, I want everyone to know that like cancer doesn't care. Like it's good people get cancer, bad people get cancer. It's so not your fault if you have cancer. And you know, you could even know that intellectually, but just to,
Sure.
like, I want to remind people
Yeah.
that, you know, breast cancer in particular is the most common cancer among adults in the world. And like you said at the beginning of the segment, 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. You know, and usually it's highly treatable.
Yeah.
Most people who get breast cancer aren't going to die of it. But yeah, it doesn't really care that much about your attitude.
Right, right. Bad things happen to good people
Yes,
all the time,
exactly.
unfortunately. When you have this beautiful kind of chorus of women where you share their experiences, because it does happen in a lot of people's lifetimes, that breast cancer diagnosis, but everyone's experience is so different too.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to interview a lot of
Yeah.
different people for the book, and get a variety of experiences in terms of what stage their breast cancer was and how they reacted to it, how their community reacted to it, what kind of health care they got. You know, the American healthcare system is disastrous and really becomes almost a violent experience for a lot of people. You know, in Deena's case, she had great insurance, but she couldn't keep her job when she was getting chemo, and so then she lost her insurance, and so it just, you know, and it went on with, and the other people I interviewed, you know, some people didn't have that experience, but it's very common.
Right. Well, and putting all those pieces together, the emotional side of it, the bills, the what does this look like, how does the medicine impact my body negatively, when you can kind of put that all together in one picture, it can really help so many people. And I hope that it will now that you put this book out.
Too.
Thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, I want to let everyone know that Ariel's book again is Rehearsals for Dying, and she'll be appearing at Powell's Books on Burnside tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We'll have more information on our website at katu.com.